The Wright brothers, how they made the first airplane. Have you ever looked up at the sky and thought, I wish I could fly like a bird? Well, a long time ago, two clever brothers had the same thought, and they made it happen. This is the story of the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, how they built the first airplane, and how they changed the world forever. Get ready for an exciting journey filled with invention, creativity, and inspiration. Orville and Wilbur Wright were two brothers from Dayton, Ohio. They weren't inventors or engineers at first, they were bicycle mechanics. Yes, they spent their days fixing bicycles and building new ones. But the Wright brothers had something special, a big dream, and a love for solving problems. From a young age, they were curious about how things worked. Every small detail made them wonder about the why and how. Their biggest dream of all: to fly. Orville and Wilbur were fascinated by the idea of flying. They would watch birds glide through the sky, wondering how it was possible. They also read about other inventors who tried to build flying machines. One person who inspired them was Otto Lilienthal, a German inventor who built gliders. Sadly, Otto passed away after one of his experiments failed, but his work sparked the Wright brothers' imagination. They realized that nobody had figured out how to fly in a machine powered by an engine. The brothers started small. They began by designing gliders, using help from books and their own ideas. They tested the gliders in open fields, learning how to control them by shifting their weight. This wasn't easy. Many times, their gliders didn't glide at all. But every time something went wrong, Orville and Wilbur didn't give up. They took detailed notes to learn what wasn't working. Imagine telling people over 100 years ago that you wanted to fly. Most people laughed at the Wright brothers' idea. Some even called them crazy. On top of that, they faced technical challenges. How do you steer a flying machine? How do you keep it balanced? And how do you get it off the ground? There were no manuals or guides to help them figure it out. They had to experiment and invent everything from scratch. The Wright brothers realized that to understand how to fly, they needed to study how air moves around objects. They built a small wind tunnel, just like scientists today. By testing different shapes inside the tunnel, they figured out that curved wings, instead of flat ones, were better for creating lift. Lift is the force that pushes a plane upward. This discovery was a huge breakthrough. They used this knowledge to design wings that could actually make flying possible. Using what they learned from their experiments, the Wright brothers created something amazing, the Wright Flyer. This was the first airplane to have an engine. It was made of wood, cloth, and metal, weighing about 605 pounds. The brothers built it in their workshop, using the same tools they used to fix bicycles. The engine was custom designed to be light enough to fly but strong enough to power their plane. They added propellers and a control system to steer it. The Wright Flyer was ready for testing. The brothers needed a special place to test their new airplane, so they chose a windy beach in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Why? Because the strong winds there could help their plane lift off the ground. Kitty Hawk became the perfect testing ground for their historic invention. Finally, on December 17, 1903, history was made. Orville piloted the first flight, while Wilbur watched closely. The Wright Flyer took off and stayed in the air for 12 seconds, covering 120 feet, about the length of a basketball court. It wasn't a long flight, but it proved that powered, controlled flight was possible. Throughout the day, the brothers took turns piloting their machine. By the fourth flight, Wilbur flew 852 feet in 59 seconds. The world's first airplane had officially taken to the skies. People watching couldn't believe their eyes. The Wright brothers' success didn't just stay at Kitty Hawk, it spread all over the world. News traveled quickly, and soon everyone was talking about their invention. Their plane paved the way for modern aviation, making it possible to travel for distances through the air. The Wright brothers didn't succeed on their first try, far from it. They faced countless failures, but they treated each one as an opportunity to learn and improve. They showed the world the importance of hard work, curiosity, and never giving up, even when things look impossible. Wilbur once said, "The man who wishes to keep at the top must constantly keep inventing." This lesson still applies today. Whether you want to build machines, write stories, or solve big problems, persistence and innovation are key. Did you know that Orville was the younger brother, and Wilbur was older by 4 years? To pay for their experiments, the brothers sold bicycles in their workshop. Their love for mechanical parts helped them design the airplane's components. Their first test flights weren't always perfect. Once, a gust of wind flipped their plane over, damaging it before they even got to fly. Let's break it down. How does an airplane actually fly? It's all about four forces: lift, thrust, drag, and weight. Lift, this pushes the airplane up, and it's created by the wings. Thrust, this moves the airplane forward, and it comes from the engine and propellers. Drag, this slows the airplane down because of air resistance. Weight, this pulls the airplane down because of gravity. The Wright brothers figured out how to balance these forces with their clever designs. Today, every airplane follows these same basic principles. The Wright Flyer now rests in the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. People from around the world visit to see the airplane that started it all. Without the Wright brothers, imagine how different life would be: no airplanes, no vacations to far-off places, and no space exploration. What if you could invent something that changes the world? The Wright brothers started with a simple dream and made history through their hard work. Big changes often come from small beginnings. So, what's your big idea? Maybe one day, your invention could help millions of people, just like the airplane. The story of the Wright brothers teaches us that we should never be afraid to dream big, even when others say it's impossible. With patience, teamwork, and a willingness to learn from failures, you can achieve incredible things. Orville and Wilbur opened the skies to humanity, showing us that no dream is too high. So, the next time you see an airplane soaring across the sky, remember the Wright brothers and their amazing journey. Who knows? Maybe one day, you'll be the one to achieve something that changes the world.